Good morning, everybody. 8:01 a.m. It is November 13th. Hope everybody had a good weekend. Okay. Market made a monster move on Friday. A lot of short covering. Um, Went up to key levels that I talked about earlier in my streams in the week. No surprise there. Doesn't mean, I could predict the future, but this just how structure works. We're going to get into, I was going to do a weekend video, but I didn't have time. So I'm starting a little earlier, so I'm going to go over some things I'm looking at in the market and look at some scenarios for a possibility for this week, and we can get into it. So without further ado, welcome to my channel. My name is Steven Gonzalez. I use volume profile, market profile to find structure in the market. Use gamma exposure levels, supply and demand, the most traded price of the rolling year, the week, the month, the previous day, and other composite large high volume nodes that are also important that came into play for this market. Okay, of course, trend lines and stuff like that. Bottom line, I've tried to find confluence in the market. All right, when you have a bunch of things line up, which is confluence, tend to be stronger confirmations or indications that more people are looking at those levels or indicators that you're looking at. Okay, that's basically what I try to do. All right, so we can get right into this. Okay, we'll get right into it, and we're going to go right into the futures watch list. Okay, we're going to get it right into that right now. So let's see where we're at. All right, so we have a VIX that is up 6%. Okay, now obviously Moody's, giving us a negative credit rating or whatever. I don't really put much weight into that. So that's good news, but this market is very bullish right now. So we have CPI this week. Let's see what happens. Okay, crude's been beaten down. Okay, so crude is kind of leveling off. I actually think, again, I'm not a financial advisor. Don't do what I'm saying. I'm just giving my thoughts. I think energy might be a nice way to nibble on for next year. Okay, gold can't break that 2K, right? That's up 0.06. The dollar is pretty much flat. 10-year yield, 10-year yield will rise slightly because 30-year bonds are being sold this morning. Dow's slightly down, 0.11. ES is down 0.2. Nasdaq's down 0.24. 30-year bonds, like I said, down 0.30. Russell's down 0.37. All right, so silver's down 0.66, the more volatile metal. Bitcoin's down 1.1%. Remember, 38K was a key level. All right, Ether down 1.9. All right, let's move on. Let's move on. All right, so Boeing's got some Fly Dubai they won the contract for buying some jets. So that is up 3.34%. That is actually a stock that I really have on my watch here, and it right now it's doing what I wanted it to do. I didn't expect it to gap up like this. I really wanted to see it break 197, 200. So if that holds, I like the way Boeing looks. Okay, Tesla. I just saw, I think it's in the UK, they're going to start implementing some of their charging stations. So they're up 0.78. We got Nvidia. Nvidia's reporting earnings. Wait, is it this week? The 21st. No, next week. All right, so still not yet. All right, and Baba's reporting earnings this week. Okay, they just had a big sale day. All right, so who's lagging? Who's lagging today? All right, we got Roblox down 0.31, Amazon down 0.39, Meta's down 0.49, Coin, with the pullback in Bitcoin's down 0.51. Okay. All right, let's move on. Top sector stocks. All right, there's your energy stocks. Now remember, CVX and Exxon have nice pullbacks. Okay, um, so they're up 0.27, 0.24. All right, we got Home Depot and Walmart reporting this week. You got retail reporting this week. So Target, Walmart, Home Depot. All right, and who's any laggard really? We got Disney, Qualcomm, and Morgan Stanley. And I just saw that the strike's done, and I just saw they're going to give out bonuses. So that's probably going to hit into the wallets of Disney and Netflix. But MS is down 0.28, Qualcomm down 0.25. Okay. Now sectors pre-market. Let's look at sectors pre-market. Energy is the leader, which is not much of a leader. Is at only up 0.06. That's not much of a leader at all. The laggards, we got semis, technology. Okay, that's Microsoft, Apple, Nvidia. Communications. All right. Communications is down 0.29. Okay, that would be Meta. Okay. So, what else did I have here? I have CrowdStrike got upgraded to a buy. All right. PepsiCo got a coverage initiated at a buy, and Procter and Gamble got initiated at a buy. Okay, that's one thing that I've been looking at. Okay, and again, I'm not really a predictor. More into probabilities, right? Because I'm not going to sit here and hang my hat on prediction. Okay, but that's something I've been talking about. Again, no financial advisor here. Is obviously the underpinnings of the market, the economy are not good, but Wall Street and Main Street don't always coexist, right? They don't have to. But the underpinnings of the economy are not very good. And this year is hot for large cap tech stocks, right? And if you look at healthcare staples, right, utilities, they've been beaten down. Okay, beaten down. And to me, look ripe, to be next year's darlings. Okay, especially if next year we have a recession. So it's just something to look at. All right, it really is something to look at. We might dive. I might just show you that in a map, a heat map, in a little bit. But that's some of the things I've been looking at. Okay, now we can get into some news, or just like look at the economic calendar and stuff like that. So that was your watch list here. And now we're going to move on to news. Economic calendar. Okay, let's look at it. We got big news this week. So we'll look at it very briefly here. We got CPI on Tuesday. Today we don't have much about Fed Cook speech. That's about it. But CPI on Tuesday, right? So CPI on Tuesday, right now, we're looking at the headline number. They're looking at, last was 3.7. They're looking at 3.3. So they're looking at a reduction. Okay. So that could be a catalyst in the market to push us higher if you do get this move lower. But if you get it hotter, that could be, bearish. Obviously, the Fed will have to do more work, right? So that's that. You got some more Fed. You got a lot of Fed speak this week. You got PPI on Wednesday. All right, more Fed, Philly Fed. Right, more Fed speak on Thursday, and then Friday you have more Fed speak. Okay, but the big one is Tuesday, CPI. Okay, big one is Tuesday, is CPI. As far as news, that's what I was talking about. We already know about the Moody's. I'm not going to go into that. That's just that's almost like clickbait for the market. Emirates, there's the 90 plane 77X deal to kickstart Dubai Air Show. So that's pushing Boeing. Okay. And Alibaba, I talked about. They just had their single. China's largest e-commerce player, Alibaba, said it recorded a 1-year growth year-on-year growth over this year's singles day sales period that ended at midnight on Saturday, while Robert JD.com reported sales volume on a record high. Okay, Boeing we talked about. And then there's the Tesla. British petrol station operator EG Group said it would buy Tesla's ultra-fast charging units to boost its electric vehicle. That's probably the reason Tesla's up pre-market. Okay, that's really it on that front. All right, I don't want to get too heavy in this Moody thing because I think that's just, it's not that important. Okay, so let's get over to daily charts, and we're gonna rip into a little more in depth today. Okay, of what I see, what's going on. Oh, we do have earnings this week. Let me just show you guys what's going on for the retail this week. So before the open today, we have Tyson, right? After the close today, let me see if anything's in note. All right, tomorrow, Home Depot before the open. Okay, what else here? Before the open on Wednesday, we have Target, JD.com, okay, Xpeng. After the close, Palo Alto, Cisco. Okay, before the open on Thursday, Alibaba, Walmart, Macy's. Okay, this is the week of retail. Okay, Bath and Body Works. After the close, you have Applied Materials, Ross, right, Gap. And on Friday before the open, you have BJ's. So that's what we're looking at, retail. Okay, all right, let's get into daily charts. Okay, we're gonna rip into a little more in depth. Okay, that's why I started earlier today. Okay, we can really get into this. Okay. All right, let's do it. Let's do it. Let's do it. Not sure who's with me today. Maybe Colby. Haven't seen Ween in a while. Not sure if Rosita's listening or watching. I know I started earlier today. And if you could always watch it back, right? Okay, so let's get into this. All right, this is SPY. Now, I talked all week about the 440 positive gamma level, right? So we closed at 440.61 right here. Okay. Now, right off the bat, so we got 440 was a key level I talked about in the SPY. Okay. Now, from the highs to the lows, you're at the 61.8% Fibonacci level, retracement level. Okay. That's usually the last line of defense. Okay, if this is going to go back down, that's usually the last line of defense. What else do we have? You have a trend line that you went right to the tick. Okay, so there's no surprise why we went here. Okay, what did also we do? We also closed above the 100-day moving average. So now the SPY is above all major moving averages. Okay, all major moving averages. And we took out the last 4 weeks. If you look at a weekly chart, we took out all 4 weeks of the last, 4 weeks. Now you can see in the orange here, I'm not sure if that's really apparent, but this is a week, that's a week, this is a week, this is a week. Okay, so you took 4 weeks out by this little breakout. Okay, also, there's last month's highs. Closed above last month's highs. Okay, so no surprise why we stopped where we did. Okay, no surprise. So, what does this hold for the market going forward? Well, if you came to 440, right, you hit a trend line, you hit the 61.8, right, that could be ripe for people starting to take profit, right? You could get a little pullback, maybe back to 438 before you make a move higher. Okay, So you just have to think about these levels. Okay. Do we just rip up higher? We could, because the market could do whatever it wants. That's why I don't like to predict. It's just stupid to predict. That's why I like to react. Okay. So that's what I'm looking at for the SPY. Right now, the Qs have been very, very strong. The mega cap tech, of course, has been really strong. Okay. You can see this downtrend line, it literally held it, the backside of it, right? And then boom, big push up, okay, right to this level, which is a weekly resistance of 378, 378, 379, right? So that hit a key resistance level. No surprise there. Okay, next level would be 384, right up in here. Okay, also closed above last month's highs. Also above but all last week we were above all the major moving averages. So big push up though, right? Very big push up. No surprise there. Okay. Now, this is where we get into more of the deep dive. Now, so you know we right now in the SPY 440 trend line 61.8 Fibonacci, right? Now you know in the Qs we pushed right up to a key resistance level. Right up to a key resistance. You can see right here, it's like a swing high area right here that it pushed up into. So no surprise there. All right, now let's move on to a little bit of a weaker index. Okay, this is the Dow. Dow's only 30 stocks. Okay, now look at the Dow's Fibonacci from here to here. Right, it is underneath the 61.8. Right, it's in between the 50% Fibonacci retracement and the 61.8. Okay, here's its trend line. It hit it, and it closed right at the 100-day moving average. All right, and it only broke out a little bit. You can see it didn't have this monster move. Okay, didn't have the monster move that the Nasdaq did. So that's, you can see in the Dow a little different picture, right? It's a big difference, right? Now remember, the Dow's largest holding is United Healthcare. Now United Healthcare has been pretty bullish, unlike the healthcare sector. So that's one conundrum for healthcare, because United Healthcare is a very large holding, and it's been bullish, but the rest have not. Well, Eli Lilly and United Healthcare are bullish, but the whole rest of the sector has not been that great. It's kind of weird for that sector. We'll get into that in a second. Okay, so this is the Dow. It's weaker than the SPY, right? So we got Qs as the strongest. Now, if we look at the IWM, which has been very weak. I mean, look at this. Look at this. Just went down last week. I mean, you got the death cross going here. You got, we're at the bottom here. It's not looking good for the IWM. Now, the IWM, they say, represents basically our economy without the mega caps. This is like small businesses, right? Now, just want to show you, I'm going to switch over to the RSP, which is the equal weighted index of the S&P 500, right? That's as if everything was equal. The IWM and RSP literally mimic each other. I'm going to switch over. It's not going to change much. Do you see that? So this has got the death cross. It's weak. It's a little stronger than IWM, but that's why they say IWM really represents our economy. It's a true representation, right? So it's either IWM starts to catch up and catches a bid, right? We just have to see. We really have to see, okay? And this is going to come into play when we look at sectors, okay? When we look at sectors. And this is the SPX. I'm just going to throw that up there. Just cash, just to look at it. This trend line we hit perfectly at like 44, what was that, 44.15 around we closed. Right at that trend line. Okay? Right at the trend line. So That's looking at the indexes. All right, now we're going to go one step further in to sectors. And you're going to see some craziness here. All right. And we're only going to go over a couple of the large weighted sectors. And remember, XLK is 28% of the S&P. Okay, that's your Apple, Microsoft, Nvidia in that basket. Look at the XLK. All-time highs is 181. Well, we closed at 179. I mean, Microsoft has a lot to do with this, but that's like crazy. We're going towards all-time highs already in the XLK. Okay, so this has room to hit the all-time highs, right? But just think about that. If we hit all-time highs, are we just going to start pushing higher? That's why I think this market might have a little juice left in the tank before it pulls back a little bit. Okay, XLK is almost at all-time highs. Okay, very strong, very strong. Now, conversely, let's look at healthcare. Does that look strong? And that's the second largest weight in the S&P is healthcare. Okay, now I think this could be a darling for next year. Okay, we already came down to this key support level down here, and now we're pushing off again, right? But I said the one odd thing about it is two large holdings, Eli Lilly and United Healthcare, have been bullish, but like something like Johnson & Johnson have not. So it's a little weird because it's, you're pushing up close to highs in United Healthcare. And Eli Lilly, they're bullish, but the rest of the sector has not been. So it's kind of weird, right? But this makes up a large portion of the S&P 500. So in order for the S&P, I think, to really get cooking, this needs to get into gear, right? Take out this swing high right here. Okay, so I'm really looking at a healthcare. Okay, it's holding this 123 level. Okay, 129 is a key level right here. Okay, so you're looking right now at the guts of the S&P 500. Right now, the XLK is heading towards all-time highs. XLV is weaker. Okay, it's coming off a big support level of 123. Can it get in gear? All right, but I said there's a conundrum with two large holdings being bullish, right? So let's see if the rest of them can get into gear. All right, now we go to the financials, which is the third largest sector. Look at this. Key level here is like 34. Notice the financials have not broke out. This 34 level is huge level. Okay, still in a downtrend, right? We hit the 100-day moving average. We just closed above the 200-day. So this level right here is very key. And for the market, right? The third largest weighted sector in the S&P 500 is financials. If it breaks this, holds this, it could run up to this trend line and possibly run up here to 35. That would boost the market. This is the overall breadth of the market we're talking about, right? So technology is almost at all-time highs. That's what moves the market, 28% of the market, right? Then we go to healthcare, which is around 14%. Has not been strong at all. Now we're at financials, right? Financials is not that strong. However, if they kick into gear, you're going to get that Santa Claus. All right. Clearly, you can see technology pushes the market. It's just a heavyweight, right? So very key in financials. Now, discretionary is not strong. Tesla's been weighing down this sector. Okay. This has got me very interested. Okay. This 162, 164, 163 area here, you have to break this trend, okay? It had resistance right now at the 50-day moving average. But this consolidation here, you see this? Right around here, 164. If Tesla starts to come alive and breaks 164 and holds it, this could fill this gap here. And you could possibly move up into maybe like the 172 area, okay? So this really will kick into gear the market if discretionary, which is the largest holding is Amazon, Tesla, Home Depot. If they can kick in, The Home Depot reports earnings this week, okay? But the real movers is Tesla and Amazon. Okay, the real movers is Tesla and Amazon. So you have to see this sector is the fourth largest weighted sector. Okay, big consolidation here. It needs to break out. If it does, oh boy, this will really propel the market. Okay, because XLK could take a little break, and if financials and XLY and healthcare start to push up, you're going to see the Dow come alive. All right, all right. So other things to note. All right, semis. They hit a very key resistance level. Okay, this is like a lot of things are hitting key resistance levels. Semiconductors right here at 158. Big, look to the left. Big resistance. Okay, big resistance. Now again, you would think maybe pull little pullbacks involved. Could it push up a little bit? A little bit, but it could get a little overextended. So I'm just looking at these things like, do I want to go long here? I mean, not really. But you have to wait and see, right? I'm gonna have to wait and see to react, right? Can you push up a little bit, then fall back? We could, we could, we could, right? XLC. Now we got done talking about the heavyweights. Now XLC is very interesting. Okay, that hit a key resistance. Look at this resistance here. Look to the left. Resistance, resistance, resistance. Big level of resistance. See? So XLC is hitting a top. Okay, but it's coiling. Let's look at it in a larger picture. Look at this push up and coil. If this starts breaking out here, boy, look at Meta. Meta is really showing you, XLC's potential to just crush it. Okay, but look, it's running into key resistance levels. So again, like I said, market could do what market could do. I'm not predicting here. I'm just showing you guys. Just showing you guys what I'm seeing. Okay, now I think XLE for next year could be a nice start. Look at this. Look at this move down in XLE. Okay, I think it's ripe next year. You got triple bottom here. Let's see what happens. Okay, now I wanted to show you XLP staples. Look at this in staples. Look at this move from all the way down here. Came all the way down to 65, starting to build a base. Okay, XLU utilities all the way down to 54, building a base. I really like this pullback in utilities. Okay, those are the things that I'm looking at. All right, that's kind of like what I wanted to talk about. So if those gets in gear, the financials, the discretionary, mainly Tesla gets in gear, you're gonna have that Santa Claus rally, and the overall breadth of the market's gonna push up. Now XLK is going towards all-time highs. Doesn't mean it can't pass it, but that gives me a little pause. That's all. It just gives me a little pause. Okay, so that's what I'm looking at. All right. Other things to note: Meta, just like communications, is at a major level, 328, 330. Microsoft's at all-time highs. Okay. Tesla, look at 226 Tesla. We'll look at that really quickly here. And then I'm going to get into the market profile. Okay. Okay. So this is Tesla. All right, let's look at it together. All right, so this is Tesla over the last year. Okay, it's in a downtrend. Okay, so let's zoom in a little bit on Tesla. Okay, remember XLY, right? So XLY, I was talking about that 162. Did I say one? Let me look at that level I was talking about. 163, 164. Well, that's 226 in Tesla. I want to see Tesla bump up, push up a little bit above 226. They have the gap above. Okay, if this gets in gear, this is a really nice move that you could have in Tesla. Okay, Meta, I told you about XLC has been queuing up all year for a big move, right? So let's just look at Meta. See, Meta is exactly like XLC, 330. Okay. Now, does it just crush this? I don't think so, right? But it's overall, it's queuing up. XLC. Now, XLC was a very weak sector last year. Okay. XLC was a very weak sector. All right. And the other one I was kind of looking at this week is Snow. All right. Snow, I'm looking at 162, 163 level. Of course, 166. Okay. Now, we're just above the 200-day moving average. We're at the 100-day. It needs to break 162 and a half, hold it, to potentially go up to 167 to 172. Okay. That's what I'm looking at those stocks. And Boeing just had that news. Okay. I'm looking at this big level. Look at this, like 199, 200 level. I was looking at 197 because 197 is where 196 is where it closed. Like I was looking at for this, but also this major level of 199. Okay. 199. Right now, Boeing is at 203. And Boeing's a little volatile, so I'm hoping to get a pullback to 200 and then decide what I want to do, because then you have above it 208, 209, you have the 100-day moving average and the 200-day moving average. Okay, and a big, big, big level here. Okay, so that's what I'm looking for in Boeing. All right, so you got that news catalyst today. All right, now let's move on. Let's move on to market profile and the futures. Hope everybody got something out of what I'm seeing. Okay. All right. Let's look at our structure. Okay. Let's look at structure together. All right. So for the last week, okay, got a little bottom here. We got big volume, and then we got a little bit of excess, right? Kind of balanced, right? Kind of balanced, because what we had here was the push down lower. That was when, oh my God, like the longs got liquidated. And then I talked about this on Friday, like stop looking at price action. This is probably fuel for the move higher, and that's what happened, right? And then we came up and bam, big move. So hence you got a nice profile, okay? Beautiful, right? And you have the most traded price of the week here at 4,400 and the most traded price of the month down here. So whenever those are together, you're going to get a big move, okay? And that's what we got. No surprise there. Okay, so let's look at the structure of Friday. So we got Friday's low, Friday's high, right? Now Friday came into a gap and supply. So that's why we got where we came in here. This was a gap that was like down here, so we partially filled the gap. All right, no surprise, you got some single prints in the structure. Okay, so now we have to look at the relationship, what's going on in the overnight session. So Friday's high, Friday's low. Here's overnight high, overnight low, holding higher prices. Holding. Now look where we came down. And this is probably off the Moody's thing, off the open, but we came right down to the breakout level in the overnight. Right to the breakout level. And then we held it, and now price is up here. Okay, so market's telling us it's bullish. Holding higher prices. Holding above the most traded price of the month and the week. So it's bullish. Okay. We need the most traded price of the week to move up to here in order to make that move. Okay. To make it like a stable move with good structure. Okay. Got a little demand zone here that's been formed. All right, overnight inventory this is the only long activity to this much short activity, but that is canceled out now because you are on the upper portion of the range. All right. So let's look at what we can look at. Now, 50% Fibonacci, 44.01 of this move. 44.01. That's your defense. Now what's there below it? The most traded price of the week. So if around 4,400 would be a defense for the bulls. Okay. Okay, so number one, I don't chase long, so we're going to look at possible bull scenario. Okay. So what do we have here? We have single prints here. So this is very susceptible to getting a little flushy flush right here around that key level that I talked about. Okay, that area. You do have demand here. So I would say this area is probably primed for a pullback to get, the buy to dip. So let's talk about it. Okay, so one of two things can happen. Market can push up into the supply, come back down to this demand zone. That could be the launch point. Okay, that's one. Two, what can happen is you come down, you break the overnight lows, and you have single prints here. So you can get a flush down to these single prints. Now, if these single prints hold, and so does the most traded price of the week of 4,400, and you're coming into the breakout level around here, and it starts to hold it, well, then there you go. You're going to move up, test Friday's high, possibly fill this gap, and you have the 100-day moving average on the futures up there. Okay, now have to talk about it. If the market even slips down here, right, and tests the lows of Friday, you have a huge demand zone and the most traded price of the month. This is the real test here. If this holds, you could also move up. Okay, that's all bullish structure, right? All right, so now if we're talking about some type of bearish scenario here, okay, obviously you have a supply zone here. You have a gap that's not filled above us. You definitely can come up here, push up, get some lower highs, then you're going to test the overnight low, and you're going to test the most traded price of the week. Now there's single prints here. If you hold under this, you're going to test the most traded price of the month. Okay, that's the scenarios in that. Okay, now we can move on to the NASDAQ. Okay, let's check out the NASDAQ here. Obviously a bigger breakout. Let's look at structure. So we got a nice extension here, excess here, then you got big volume here, and then you got it. So it looks very balanced. Okay, very balanced. Now what you do have that's different in the NASDAQ. I'm already seeing it. You have a weak high here. So that's a breakout point, or it could be a resistance, but you have supply here, and you have single prints, older single prints that were partially cleaned on Friday. Okay, so very interesting. Again, it seems like you're getting a little more weakness right now in the NASDAQ. That's fine, right? Okay, now if you look at this, you have single prints holding up this market, right? Single prints, single prints, single prints. Single prints are emotional buying, right? They don't usually offer much support. But if they do offer support, that is bullish. Okay, that's how you have to look at single prints. It doesn't mean that they fall. If there's weakness and there's volume, yes, they get clean very easily. But if they hold, that's bullish. It's always a bullish indication if single prints hold. Okay, we are holding higher prices. That is bullish in structure. Okay, then you have this much long to this much short, and so we're about 80% and 85% net short, but we're right in the middle of the session of the overnight, so no edge there, no edge to speak of. Okay, so very easy here. All right, very, very easy. We're going to go over a bullish case here. Okay, now the market has just broke out, so you have to keep that in mind. The market can get continuation today, but the market could also balance today. Okay, it could take a rest. So let's look at this. You got kind of a poor low here, right in the overnight. So this area is their first place of defense. Okay, we could push up or down into this demand, hold it, and that could fuel that move, break this weak high, break the single prints, go up to this next naked epoch up here. Okay. Now, that's probably bullish scenario number one. Now, this would be, it could still happen, right? Because the most traded price of the week and the month are down here, right? If we get super weak, you could push through all these single prints, come down, test, and then that's the fuel for the next move higher, okay? Because it's still bullish. However, you do come inside this range, which would be a little worrisome, but if it holds, it's bullish, okay? Now, on the bearish side, okay, you could push up and get the flush out of the weak highs here, but then come back in, lower highs. You're going to test this demand zone. If you break this demand zone and hold with volume, you're going to rip through these single prints, and you're going to test the most traded price of the month. Okay, if you break under that, it goes lower, okay, down to about 152. I'm not saying that happens. I have to have it as a scenario. Okay, I have to have that as a scenario. All right, I think that's gonna do it for me today, and hope you guys enjoyed it. Give me a like if you did. All right, subscribe, set an alert if you can. You can always follow me on X at Gonzo719. Now, I have time if Rosita is watching. If she's not watching, Rosita, are you watching? Because otherwise, I can do it with you privately. Because I can look at Roblox. Okay, so let's do it real quick. I gotta get my daughter to the bus. All right, let's look at this now. Now again, I understand Rosita's in some trade here, and probably not gonna like this analysis, depending on what kind of trade you have on. I don't know if it's a scalpy kind of trade, a swing trade, sort, but if you notice here right away in the chart, okay, Roblox made a move already. It made a move. Then it had earnings, right? Where did it go? The most traded price of the year is 40.79. So you notice how it came up. Look to the left. Look how much consolidation is in this area. That's usually going to stop a stock dead in its tracks. Okay, so the move was made already. Look at this wick. It was made already. People took profits already. I don't know how much juice it has left, but this area is going to cause congestion for it. Right here. It's really all you need to see. That's why it whipped past here and took off and came back down. Okay, it's holding 200-day moving average, but it's made its move already. Again, this is just my TA, right? Rosa could be scalping it, I don't know, but this is for a swing. The move's been made. So, again, that's just TA. Well, could it blow through this and do whatever? Yes, but I'm just looking at it as far as that, right? So, big volume here. You can see here, pushed up. That volume's been taken out. And it's holding this 37.58 level. Okay, you can see here it was queuing up. Most traded price in these 3 weeks had the most traded price equal, and that's why they made that big move. Okay, here's the weekly chart. There's that consolidation. Look how many weeks in the middle of this range, right? And it almost traversed it, and now look, it's closed back here. It's going to have a hard time getting through this. Okay, you can just see it on the monthly. Look how much concentration and consolidations here, right? That's going to be tough to move through. Tough sledding. Tough sledding. All right. All right. All right, everybody. Everybody have a good day. Good luck. We have our plan. And I will see you guys tomorrow.